Welcome to this week's Rapid Recap. I'm Sasha Evdikov. It is June 4th, 2015, and thanks for spending a little bit of time with me today. So, today we're going to talk about what if you had all the money that you wanted. So, if you had all the money that you wanted, what would you be doing? And it's a good little exercise to do and to think about because it helps you plan your focus and plan your future. Now, we'll also talk about some stocks today, such as SAVE, URI, CHK, GMCR, CMG, Waste Management, and so forth. So these are some of the ones that are on the list to chat about. Not sure if we'll get to all of them. It did post a ton of, critical charts here for the members for the charts, just because some of the things that caught my eye, like AFAM and a bunch of others, charts in there as well, but we won't be covering all of those, obviously, because that's more for the members, and there's a lot more charts there. But we will talk about some charts today. And had also a few questions this week about the shorting book. So some of the projects I'm working on are right here on the right side on the website. And it gets updated probably once a month here and there as I progress with projects, just to give you some insight of what's happening. And we'll be coming out with a 245 money-making stock charts book focused specifically on shorting. So it'll be also a 245 money-making chart book, specifically, though, on shorting. Now, I expected it May 25th, but because of the proofing, people reviewing it, it just takes a little bit more time. I don't rush these things too much, just because I don't want to have a lot of issues or mistakes with the product. I don't want to have a ton of mistakes in the grammar in the book, and that just really a lot of people, they just get unhappy with that. So I could release it now, but it would be unproofed. So we're gonna wait a little bit, and probably to give you an estimate, let's say the 1st of July, July 4th, that would probably be a good estimate of when it would be available and be ready for purchase. So right around that weekend. In either case, I am also going to do a penny stocks book, although I'm not big on penny stocks just because of the liquidity that you have to go through. There's not enough for me. If you buy a couple thousand shares, it just moves the stock way too much. So I usually can't trade those, but I like studying the charts, and I like studying all sorts of charts, and those will be to the bullish side longs and also shorts. So it'll be a mix between the two books, but specifically focused on stocks under 10 to 12 bucks, just because it's penny stocks are usually $5 stocks and less, or $2 stocks and less. But this book will cover the cheaper stocks, $10 and less stocks, mostly 99% of those charts. And, I just enjoy studying the charts because it just makes me better, even though I may not trade the penny stocks. But looking at different types of stocks, it builds your training muscle. And for me, by creating these books, it's not really on the purpose of selling them. It really helps me more by doing them. And I make much more from the wins than just from the book sales. But it's a lot of great material to just learn from and review, just to build up that training muscle. And then towards the end of the year, may not hit it this year, maybe January of next year, just because we may be going on vacation in November, so we'll see. But my last course of the year for stocks will be the Options Mastery for this year. So that'll be the last stock market course that I do for this year. And that's just because it's so huge. It's going to drain me mentally, and it's probably going to be the biggest course that I ever make. I don't know. We'll see. Might make a bigger one, but it's a lot of material to go into an options course, because options can be complicated, and we need to break those things down so everybody can understand. We already have a basic course, and that'll build upon the basics course that we have. So In either case, those are the news. Those are the updates. Today actually didn't trade much, didn't have the market going on too much, but I was helping a neighbor actually do a little bit of moving there with some boxes, and he's off to schooling into another state over there in New York. And I would crank up the volume. It's kind of funny. I crank up the volume to the stocks, and if the alerts hit, you get different signals and signs that are just yelling blast off, or an explosion effect, or like a glass breaking kind of a sound effect. And people would be wondering or looking around, it's like, what's happening? What's going on? Because, I want to hear the alerts. But just a little funny thing, And for him, his journey is, he's getting here engaged soon, and moving off to New York, and building his life over there. And for you also need to kind of decide, where is it that you want to go? What is it that you want to do? And if money was no object, what would you be doing right now? Now, for me personally, I like to write books. I like courses. I like education. So the foundation for me is primarily education. Now, the tool that you use to get to doing what you want could be stocks, it could be something else. But really, essentially, you're always moving forward. And the end goal is knowing what you want. And if you know what you want, you know the direction and path to go through. So if we use the tool of stocks, the trading on the stock market to get to your why, to get to your reasoning of what you want to do. Do you want to party all day and all night and spend a couple $100s on liquor and booze? Or do you want to go and feed a family? Do you want to go help out at a shelter? Because you don't have to worry about money. You just want to donate your time. And for me, that's one thing I value. And that's why I give so much of my time to this, to education, because it takes a lot of time to teach people. And I value that. For me, the most precious commodity is time. I can always make more money. You can always replicate that, multiply it, get money through exponential means, through leverage, using other people's money and resources. It's just a resource. But time is not something I can get back. So for me, this is why I always love talking on the phone with some of you guys that, really are hungry, knowledgeable, that just say, hey, I need 5 minutes, I have a question, or that send me an email. I'm always happy to write back, and I write back usually paragraphs. And that's usually due to because, I just speak and it types for me. That's one of the easy ways of doing it. But in either case, it's really just to give back based on my most valuable resource, and that is the time and knowledge and education. So when we're looking at these stocks, when we're looking at the markets, you have to know, why are you doing this? So whether you are trading micro trading, small trading, or trading larger for longer term trades, you have to understand, when going into a trade, what is it that you want to do. So if you're doing micro trades and you're doing very tiny trades, you could be trading right here in this region just for that little break when the stock broke out right here, and then sold it off when it went back under the line. Granted, for me, I don't like those kind of trades, but for you that may work out well. For me, that's not my goal. That's not the way I like to trade. On the flip side, you could see that, okay, the stock, or the market actually, shall we say, rejected prices over here. We tried to reject over in this level, and then we also attempted more rejection here. The stock couldn't even get higher. Now it came here, and you can see it started that rejection on this line. So this was your opportunity to go short. We played around right here, a few bars, but it didn't break through. A word of advice: strong markets, power-hungry markets, break to the upside very easily. They'll break these levels quickly. Markets that are lagging, isolating, doing these kinds of things, they'll play around in in this region right here, and they don't break out. So, you know, that's just a tip. But right here was your opportunity again to go short. And now you had this short, even if you missed it, you had this short opportunity for a few days. Even if you got in late, let's say you got late, because we know stocks bounce, and if they bounce on lighter volume, you got in late right here, you still had a good little run. So that run would have given you 219 points to the downside because you noticed that it rejected higher prices right here. And you can take a look at that on the S&P, very similar. You know, you can draw the line right there. You know, we had, it's a little bit different with the S&P. We had some isolation over here, but the high bar rejection happened, you know, right here at these, my arrow, right here at this level. There's the wide price spread bars. Look at this, one wide price spread bar. We power higher on lighter volume, something I went over in the technical analysis course. Lighter volume, okay, let's say we had right here on this one 125 million to the downside, and then 93 million people tried to push it higher. Which one is going to break down? You know, who's going to win? You know, if you had 125 million people, you know, let's say arm wrestling against 93 million people, who's going to win, right? Which group? Or tug of war, whatever. So right there, rejected, continued lower. So, you know, it's an isolation market, but that doesn't mean there isn't stock picks that you can trade. You just have to be aware what condition we're in. So let's just take a look at some stocks. We talked a little bit about SAVE. Previously, we watched this longer term trend line, support line right here. The stock broke, giving you a nice $12 run to the downside. And even if you caught it, let's say late, and are exiting it right now late, you still had a $2, $3 profit run right there. And that's if you're late, tardy, late to the game, you know, and you're late to exit. It's just getting in at the right trend lines. And that trend line took 5 to 6 months to build. It took time. URI, same concept. Look at this trend line. Here we have a couple months of trend line. Stock breaking, popped a little bit higher, and now again it's starting to pull back. Now this one's potentially could, you know, get to 95, maybe even 100, retest things, and then could sell off again. You watch the action. You watch the action. So like in SAVE, anytime we get these little bounces, let's just zoom in a little bit. When we get these little bounces right here, this stock is going on lighter volume. Okay. Anytime we get the sell-offs, they're on heavier volume. All right, so let's take a look at another one. Chesapeake, CHK, same thing. Here we have a long trend line, and you can see that the initial energy, these things repeat time and time again. They repeat like human behavior. Think of this like your best friend. If they like to work out every Wednesday, they're going to work out every Wednesday most of the time. You know, so that's what you're looking for. Here we have the upward support line. You know, we had a huge break. Let's just talk about it here. Huge break, A pattern right here, A to B, B to C, and C to D. Okay, so we had a huge breakdown, then retracement on weaker volume. Then again, volume picks up, huge break, retracement again on lighter volume. Okay. And now we're breaking again. All that energy, let's make it a different color. The energy from these trades and these traders right here, and then the energy from these traders, okay, all comes back, and then they come back in here. So what happens is these traders right here, they take profits during this time right there. Okay, so you got people that take profits. Okay, so they're selling here and then they're taking profits here. Okay, then again, they're selling again. Then they'll take some profits. It pops the stock. They're selling again. Then they'll take some more profits. That's what happens. Okay, GMCR, this stock, it can't get out of its own way. Look at the weekly. Okay, so looking at this weekly, you know, we reached the highs, sold off heavy volume off the highs right there. And then what happened with this stock is we continued lower. We bounced right here at this support level. Okay, there it is right there. There it is right there. We bounced here, couldn't go higher, rejected the higher prices. Okay, so there's our line. Rejected higher prices here, came back, isolating for a little bit, broke through that line, and now it's continuing lower. Okay, if you got in at this stock right here, that's at the right time. If you really wanted to be really picky, you could have gotten in it, you know, right around this level when it's wide bar to the downside. Notice the difference. We have wide bullish bars here, and this is where things change. Wide bearish bars and volume. Look at the volume descending and then a pop. Okay, decreasing and then a pop. Okay, again, bouncing here, but the red bar, okay, comes down, learning the breadth of the stock. And this used to take me hours. I would spend hours on one chart looking at the daily. Then you're looking at the daily, the same thing. Okay, we got, well, if you look at this chart alone, right here, just look at the biggest bars. Let's make things simple. The biggest bars, what do you see? Red bars, okay? If we zoom out and we go a little bit to the other sides, well, I got to zoom in, I guess, a little bit. So if we skip that area, let's just go here. You can see that in this level, where do you see most of the bars? Green bars. You got green bars right here, mostly on the pops. Okay. Now, as we move a little bit over right here, now we have one red bar over here. That's pretty big. But then again, we had green bars. So, you know, just looking at things in context, you know, on a simplified version, just look at the big bars and it tells you the direction. If you still can't tell, change it to the monthly chart. That means what's happening for the month. Each bar is a month. So this month is red. Second month, red. What do you think is going to happen next month? Probably red, but no, we got a fake out. We got a bounce. That's why it's important to learn the patterns. Then next month, where was the trend? The last 3 times was red. Okay, average it out, 3 to 1. Where it's going to be red, green. Probability is red. Okay, what do we get? We got a red one. Then again, what's the probability? Probability we're going to get another red one. Okay, but we got a light little green one. Then what's going to happen? Probability, again, red. We got more red out of that batch, you know, and we did get a huge red month previously. So, you know, if you simplify things down like that, you add volume. Volume tells you how fast. If I'm looking at the monthly, how fast things are going to be going. Okay, and even if I look at the monthly right here, relatively to the month, you know, look at the overall A to B, B to C, C to D. We hit our projected move. For those of you the veterans that have been following me for a while, A to B, B to C, C to D. Once we hit that move, something new happens. And what happens? Sell off. So you would have seen that. You would have seen that move. All right, I don't want to dwell on it too much. Simple practice, right? Just learning the stocks, how they move. CMG, same thing right here. Got in this trade right here, short the stock, down $33 or up $33 in profit. You had let's say 1,000 shares times $33. Oh, come on. That's now you're living the life, and now you get to decide what is it that you want to do. What do you want to spend time with? Do you want to go teach kids? Do you want to go feed the homeless? Do you want to help your friend move? Do you want to go, you know, play basketball? What is it that you want to do? You know, this one trade right here alone could set you up. That one trade, you just have to be in one trade. Just a few trades can make your year. That's all you need. You don't need to trade every single day. That's why I have the pleasure of doing what I love to do, and, you know, reading, writing, education, all this kinds of stuff, making videos, helping you out, because I can do that because I don't have to trade every day. If I get in the right stocks, I know that they're the right stocks, moving the right way. You sit on your hands. Duct tape it if you have to. Sit on your hands and be patient. You can, by the time you're 3 to 6 months into the market in terms of from January to, let's say, June, you could already make most of your financial well-being, and you could be done. You could be done in 2-3 months. And then the rest of the time, the rest of the 10 months, you could go on vacation if you want. So you have to decide what is it that you're going to spend your time on. You could sit and play video games all day. We can sit and, watch movies all day. But, after a while, these things dwell on people because we normally and naturally want to be productive. We want to contribute to society as you evolve your life. So for me, I like the education. For you, you need to define what that is and slowly start doing it, integrating it. So just because you're not in the state there yet doesn't mean you can't do what it is that you want to do, at least in little bits and pieces. Maybe not to the extent that you want to do it, but bits and pieces. So here it is, same thing, waste management, upward trending, boom, break. I believe we had earnings somewhere around right here, so you would get out most of your position, and then you enter it back again right around that level. I don't trade earnings, just so you guys know. Again, I stress that all the time, but I get out of them. So you could trade this part, exit here before earnings. I think this bar was earnings bar, so you don't trade there. So let's say you got in right here again, and you had this run to the downside. So you basically would have made from here to here a buck. You would have made a buck. And then from here, you would have made $1.70. So about $2.50 on the trade. $2.50 is not bad, for a stock that moves like this. $2.50, $2 even, 1,000 shares, $2,000. It's not bad at all. There's a lot of people struggling to make $2,000 in, a month. So $2,000, definitely not bad. I've been there. DRI, this one's an early one that's starting to break. Again, here we have the ABCD structure, A to B, B to C, and now we're breaking that pattern just like some of the other ones we talked about. So this one's building. The volume isn't huge yet, so watch what's happening right here. We went up this one right here on this bar. Now we're breaking that with more volume. Okay, so take a look. We had 1.3 million on the break. We had only 800,000 on the pop. So this one should potentially get lower to at least 61, if not lower, if we do the projected move. Potentially 57 if it picks up speed, but we'll see. You have to really watch how the speed comes in on this. So GoPro, again, people get too antsy. Be patient when you're trading. I just want to mention that. Last point is that you had an opportunity to get into this stock back at the IPO price or near there. Okay. Yes, this was all the excitement right here. Stocks sell off. And now again, you have growth that may be coming in, or value buyers, or it could just be a retracement to this level, and then it could sell off further. So you'll have to kind of see. But what I want to mention to you is that you have to be patient. And when these stocks right here, people are talking about it, people are yapping about it, the TV, the news channel, be patient, because the opportunities are going to come, whether it's to the upside or to the downside. You don't have to trade in this first month or 2 months. Now you could have done a different trade right here and waited for that stock to come back to the IPO price, and now you have the potential for that run. Alibaba, the same thing. It was your IPO price, and now we're getting back to that level. So, just letting you know that it's a stock picker's market. We've had some other stocks that were running well. So if you take a look at GT, we talked about that one for a couple weeks. And this stock broke that pattern right there. It's a slow mover. So, you get a, $3 gain out of this. But now the volume, I told you that this volume bar right there is a caution sign. And now we're starting to pull back on more volume. So always be cautious and mindful of what's going on and how's the stock behaving. If there's a clue, so always peel some into strength. So those are just some things and thoughts I wanted to share with you this week. Actually, let's see, we missed Leaf. One more, this one right here, getting into the gap, starting that break. watch it closely, and it has the potential to get into this gap and then fill the gap if it picks up more volume. So take a look at that weekly. You can see that it's picking up on that speed. So you're just watching it closely right now. I'm waiting for this level right here to break, actually, rather than this early line. So potential entry for the short side would be probably 45, 40 or so, give or take a couple cents, and then use that line as a stop. And then definitely peel profits by the time it hits about 41. In either case, so I wanted to share with you some thoughts, some insights. Remember the bigger picture of why you're doing this. And if you had a lot of money, a lot for you, a lot is a relative term, but if you had enough for you to live, what would you do? What would you do with it? What would you do with your time? So think about that. Because if you know your goal, if you know your direction, then you know the path to go to. If you don't know your direction, or you don't know your destination, you don't know where you want to be, then any road will take you there. So if you don't know your goal, your objective, you don't know where you want to go, you sit in a car and you just start driving, you could drive around in circles because you don't know where you want to go. Or if you have a destination in mind, you could travel from New York to California, So if you know the destination, you know why you're doing it and what you want out of it. If you had all the money that you needed to do what you want to do, what would you be doing? Think about that as you approach this business of stock trading. And that will kind of guide you on the type of stocks that you want to trade. It will guide you on the life lessons of being a day trader or swing trader, which ones apply more to you and which one kind of fits you a little bit better. It will apply to the trades that you take, the trades that you don't take. It's a lot of things that go along with this business beyond just, hey, I need to trade and I need to make some money. If you approach it that way, it's going to be a lot more difficult. All right, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, this recap. Covered a few handful different stocks. Like I said, the shorting book should be out, probably right around that early July month, and just working on a couple other little material things. So thanks again for joining me, spending your time with me. I truly appreciate your fellowship. You have no idea all the emails that you guys send me. I'm really grateful because I then know and understand that I'm helping you out, or at least giving you an insight to the future of where you want to make a choice or a decision and what direction you want to go, or maybe just answering a simple question. As far as some videos, I'll be doing some more broker review videos. My goal is for the summer months to release probably about 5 to 10 different reviews of brokers. So we're doing Scott Trade right now. We'll probably do a 4 to 5 different videos on them. And then we'll do like Trade King, we'll do like Option Monsters, Options House, a bunch of different brokers. We're going to put in 25 grand in one account. Some of the accounts, they require 10 grand. Some of the accounts require $100,000 just to use their platforms, which I think is kind of silly because you don't have a demo of the platforms, like you do with software, which kind of really is annoying because you have to go through the paperwork. But that's actually what I'm doing for some of the videos is we're actually putting in 20 grand, 50 grand to actually get the premium grade software, just so you can see what it's all about. So if you're trying to select a broker, we'll have a lot of those reviews coming in here over the next couple of months because we're doing a lot of different brokers, and it's just a process of signing up to them and putting the money in and doing the reviews. So thanks for joining me. If you have questions, feel free to email me and I would be happy to answer them. Thanks again. And remember to do what you love, contribute to others, but most importantly, live life abundantly. I'll see you next time.